All right, welcome you guys to the Nova Show Real Estate Records. I am your host, Karla Rivera, and today I have a very special guest with me, Luis Carter. I'm excited to tell you a little bit about him, and thank you so much for being here, Luis.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so Luis is an associate broker who brings more than 8 years of real estate experience. He has an impressive track record. And as of June 2025, his numbers have really just been speaking volumes. I don't want to say exactly how many transactions, but it's his, strategic client-focused approach that really sets him apart, especially in Utah's competitive luxury market. So before real estate, Luis was a C-level executive and owner of a successful market research firm. So I'm assuming this business savvy background really gave you an edge that most agents can't claim, and deep insight into consumer behavior, negotiations, and data-driven decision making. So whether it's a first-time home buyer or multi-million dollar deal, I know that Luis brings the same level of professionalism, dedication, and results. So I am super excited to dive into your story, hear about what got you started in the industry, and also where you're at and what you are planning for the future.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Thanks for the invite. Glad to
of
be here.
course. Thank you. So let me go ahead and rewind us. Tell me really what moved you over from the executive life to the real estate world.
Yeah. So, in 2017 or thereabouts, it was a combination of two factors. One, you sort of enter a different phase of your career in market research. This online driven data acquisition sort of was taken off. And so it became a lot more affordable for firms to capture their data, research, topics of interest, client acquisition. And so, you sort of started thinking about another career. And along those lines, we did a study for a firm back east, a really large brokerage. And that sort of piqued my interest in sort of the business aspect of it. I thought, oh, I could open a brokerage, and I tend to be a talker. So if I talk too
Oh, I
much,
love
let me
that.
know.
No,
And
hey,
so
that's what we're here to do.
I thought I
So
could
good.
train agents, etc., create something more in a business slash sales rather than customer service. And we can talk about that later. And so it was twofold. It was career change as well as looking at an industry where I thought I could really be successful early on. I
Yeah.
didn't have the luxury of a learning curve per se at that stage in my life. And so I had to pick something that was beneficial personally and financially, and real estate was the one.
Okay. Well, I love that. So that actually kind of brings me to what I was going to ask you, which is, having that experience with the market research, how do you feel that's helped shape your approach in real estate?
Yeah. So, in speaking about research sort of in a elementary way, firms, CEOs would hire us. If we take the real estate market, for example, the number one issue most brokerages struggle with or are prone to solve is um, signing new agents, agent
Mm-hmm.
retention, and of course, leads, right? Whether it's selling or buying clients. And so market research kind of give me an advantage in that sense because I sort of understood what the foundation could be to be a successful agent, um, and the ability to meet people, talk to people, be an extrovert rather than an introvert.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, and in my field that I practiced for over 27 plus years, I would show up to meetings or focus groups, which sort of the grandfather of podcasts.
Yeah.
You gather people around, you have discussions about a certain topic, and when I would show up, the criticism I'd always get is, you don't look like a researcher. You should be, client facing rather than backroom data crunching. And so I knew there was a fundamental, a foundation there that existed that would yield success in real estate. Vis-a-vis, you know, I had a Rolodex by that point in life of clients, which is why, the luxury space is one of the hardest to break into.
Yeah.
And that's why I started.
Okay.
And
So you
so
just went for it
I
head
just,
first.
when they said, well, you got to call your sphere of influence, my sphere of influence were business owner after business owner.
Oh, wow.
And so the initial bump was just to establish credibility. Wow,
Yeah.
you're a good manager, you're a good business owner, but are you a good real estate agent? And so early on in my career, I started off with a brokerage. And then within 8 months, I saw, okay, I've got to humble myself. And so I went with one of these, I don't want
Wait,
to call it
what do you,
discount.
yeah, let me hear what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I wasn't going to name them, but just an agency that I knew had as their leadership, they had a lot of real estate attorneys that led
Okay.
the team. And I zeroed in and said, okay, I've got to go to, I called it Louis University. So I said, okay, maybe I just go in there. I could listen to how contracts are formulated better than just learning, okay, a REPSI has 6 pages, 26 clauses, but get in depth. And you can't learn that as fast as I needed to without having exposure to what I did. So I made a sacrifice in my career to go there. And of course, within 3 months, they promoted me to management. And so I started leading a
Good for
team.
you. Yeah.
But as I was leading a team, it was actually better than my initial plan because now all the problems were coming to me. And so rather than me going through a real estate cycle where I had to learn as an agent, you had 18 people assigned to me and I didn't have the answers, but I got,
But you were able to find the answer.
yeah, I had
Awesome.
a seat at the table with very, very experienced contract lawyers who would give me the answers. And so I filled my bucket of knowledge faster than I had anticipated. And so when I re-entered what I call the normal real estate world, it was immediate.
Yeah.
And
So you mostly still focus on luxury then?
I do.
correct?
It
Yeah.
seems to be the most natural market. It's my peer-to-peer
Yeah,
customers.
it's the people that already know you.
Yeah.
that you,
And usually it's a
that makes
referral from, John tells Jack, Jack tells Mary. And so, and it's more natural for me. And so when we talk, we assimilate very quickly because we have the same life experiences. Most of
I love hearing that because I think that is the way really to do business,
Yeah.
right? When people already know you and you have these commonalities, you've built a relationship, so it's easier to
Right.
work together.
Yeah, and I mean, an
Absolutely.
anecdotal funny one was I went to a listing appointment, and I thought it was fantastic. I left, and the person that referred me said, "Hey, Louis, the lady went with someone else." I go, "I've never not been selected. What happened?" He said, "You were wearing Louis Vuitton shoes, and she can't trust someone to sell her home
Oh,
wearing
no,
And I
what?
said, "What?" And it wasn't a luxury home. I just was going after a client. And it was funny, but it sort of anecdotally tells you, I didn't think about that little appearance in this home that made a difference for her and who she chose because she thought we would not gel together. That I represented a different buying class than her home.
Man. That's interesting to hear because I think it kind of hits a point where, and you are wearing Louis today. Louis is wearing Louis Vuitton. Okay,
That's
so,
right. So yeah, it's gonna happen.
Sorry, I'm like, I'm gonna check if he's wearing Louis Vuitton. But no, like we put ourselves, in these positions, and I think it's important to know that we're not always going to flow
Correct.
well
Yeah.
with a client, and that's okay too. It doesn't
Absolutely.
mean that you're not an amazing realtor.
Right, exactly.
And it must have come from something else, right?
Absolutely,
But how
yeah.
good to know that too. And I think that's a really good example to other agents that you're not always going to get that yes.
Right.
But hey, like what a good lesson. So
Yeah.
with that, and not that you need to not wear your Louis, right? Like I hope that's not what you left with. You're like, oh, I won't wear that again. But I see you are, so we're good. So with that, can you tell me about, if you remember, your first real estate deal?
Of
And
course.
just how that went
Yeah.
versus how they're going now?
Yeah, I think everybody remembers their first. I mean, it was a friend and a very, very detailed, beautiful individual who is an interior designer. And so he had a very small apartment. I mean, check this, 560 square feet was the total square foot, very,
Wow.
very small. But it was an outlier in his building because it was so detailed. Everything was flown in from Italy this, and just every detail you could think about in this tiny little apartment. And that was my first exposure. And so I was selling a price point that was far and above what this building would yield. But I knew that what was in this, the product that he had, and we gelled together rather quickly. I mean, we were friends. I had never been to his home. And so that was my first real estate experience. We went on the contract, and it's funny because a few years later, I said, I want to go back to that contract and see, because I bet you I made a million mistakes in it, given what I now know. But luckily, the agent on the other side, who we've done 2 or 3 deals sitting on the other side of each other.
It's always so nice to get to work with people again.
Yeah. And I brought that up to him, and he said, you were just such a good speaker. I didn't point out a couple things. You missed the deadline on disclosures, but I was like, man,
no.
I looked you up and you had no deals. I go, yeah, that was my first one. But it was an interesting experience because then I did it just like I said, I will do it for the bare minimum. And he's like, okay. So I did it for the bare minimum, marketed like I did as an executive, which was over the board.
So what was, I guess, the purpose behind that? Just for the experience and gaining the knowledge of it?
That was just to get something under my belt.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. When I started, 8 months, I had nothing. And so new agents, this is a takeaway for any new agent that might listen to this. Don't be discouraged. It is the norm. It takes time. And look at me. I entered this field in my mid 40s, and yet with all the C-level experience I thought I had, it would come naturally. It takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time to nail that client. Your existing sphere of influence needs to see validity. And so once I validated myself, the floodgates open. I mean, if you look at just the average, I in preparation to meet with you, the state of Utah, the average agent does 3.5 deals a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I saw that.
So 4 deals a
many,
year.
Yeah.
I was averaging 30. And so as a brand new agent, that is unheard of. And but those first 8 months where I was green behind the ears, I didn't know exactly how to rein in, how to go about this. And once I did, and how to do it and how to be patient, it sort of just started to flow. And then I quickly realized you have to gain that momentum, which is built on experience, exposure. I did an open house once in West Heber where I think there was 2 cows, me, and a house. There was nobody whatsoever.
The cows didn't try to come
And one of them tried to come in for cookies because I had so many. And I think he smelled it, but there was nobody.
Wow.
And I was out there, I'm like, and I started doing these funny videos with Pompon going, yep, Louis Carter's out here in the middle of nowhere.
Well, but I think that, sorry to interrupt you. I think that still speaks volumes, right? You were still out there. You went and were ready to bring in someone if they did show up.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was funny because that agent who, in the brokerage, it's like, anybody want to do an open house? I go, I'll do it. She goes, but it's out there. I go, that's fine. And now we're very good friends. She switched brokerage, and she sees me winning the top salesperson of the year. And she's like, remember when you, I will never forget.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's such a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Well, and so I think, you've kind of hit on some of this, but what has been the key to building and maintaining your level of success? You've got experience, right? But more than that, what do you think it is?
Yeah. And I mean, I want to be honest and relatable to a lot of people, but it's not easy. It really isn't. You have to constantly nurture your craft. Your sphere of influence will only take you so far. And if you bug them more, then it becomes the tune-off, right? Sort of a virtual switch. Oh, there goes Louis again.
Or like, this is all I'm being contacted for.
And I think it's creating useful content for people, whether it's digitally, whether, you just join an association. Join, if there's opportunities, if somebody invites you to go golfing and you don't golf, learn, go to the practice range.
It's funny you say that. This year I've been learning.
Yeah.
But
and because it's opportunities to
that
talk
market,
to people.
People do golf, right?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, we can go through experience after experience, but I think the important thing is to, nurture your craft. And it's not always doing the exact same thing. Give them something useful. Like, for example, something quickly. I see agents that post statistics, right? So every once a month, the association tells us how many homes sold, how many on the contract. What does that mean to the general public? So if you copy that and you put it on, who are you talking to? Nobody. right? And we want to talk about it and tell them, just give them anecdotally something that you do. And if you don't have any listings, find somebody like me within your brokerage and say, hey, Louis, no money. I just want to go with you wherever you're going. I want to work on paperwork with you. A lot of us don't
So
have
you
the
can learn.
humility.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we
absolutely.
lack the humility because everybody's, I'm number one. I'm the best real estate agent. It's over 18,000 in such a small state. So you're
Hmm.
competing a lot, but always try to be doing something every day, always. And it's not all of us can work full time at this job, and I understand that. But if you're even part time, whatever time you put in, try to diversify what time you put in where.
Okay, so that actually brings up a question for me because you mentioned not everyone can do it full time. Do you think then it's more important what the level of focus is when you are dialed into
Right,
to the work?
right. Focused and dialed in. Absolutely. Because even if you're doing it part time,
Mm-hmm.
nothing is going to bear fruits if you're not
Fully focused.
fully focused, engaged. I spent some time earlier this year and last year where I was helping my wife and her firm. She owns a very successful mill and she fabricates everything from scratch. And I was
Oh
over there a
wow.
lot and I could see my numbers just dive off a hill. And it's because I wasn't putting out content every day. I wasn't making phone calls. I was giving away my leads to other people because I was growing the family business. But then the fire lit inside of me again and said, I really love real estate. And so it was a conscious decision to disassociate again, come
And
back full
loop back
time,
into
loop
it.
back in,
Love
and
that.
this week alone, I'm working on some very exciting
Hey,
deals.
and actually, though, I love hearing that you are at a point where you have the ability to
Right,
step back
right,
slightly and focus on something else that is super important to you, your family.
right.
And then, yeah, like
Yeah,
kind of that even
yep.
flow going back. And so, with this unique space that you do focus on, the luxury market, what do you think are some unique challenges that come up?
Right. I have a lot of agents that always ask me, Louis, please, I want to break into luxury like you.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly you do. I heard somebody sitting at the table behind, and they didn't know it was Louis Carter in the table in front. I'm speaking in the third person there, but
That's
and they
okay.
made a comment like, "Wow, look at his numbers, but he only sold 10 homes." And I go, "That's right. You know how much effort it
But
took to sell those 10 homes and generate over $25 million? It's worse than doing 40 homes at the 400,000 level because there is challenges that exist in luxury that doesn't exist in other spaces. First
yeah.
of all, you're dealing with massive egos, right? My house is worth X. My house is $10 million.
Well,
The
and I can
appraiser says
imagine
7.
there's a lot of unique features in these homes that
Very
are
unique.
emotional for the client and maybe
Correct.
not the
Correct.
specific look
Correct.
somebody would want. But I actually saw this in the parade of homes. I'm like, oh, these are very unique
Right.
styled of homes. It has to be the right
Right.
person to buy it. And for you to be able to highlight that at
Right.
it is
And in luxury,
another.
you're always fighting over possessions,
Mm,
artwork.
yeah,
I
I
sold a
can
$4
see
million
that.
home just right here, close to this office. And they wrote just very detailed everything they wanted in the home. And I called the agent who I admire and respect. And that's another tip. I follow 5 agents in the luxury space that are above me, and I copy everything they do. I re
Okay.
engineer, I see what they do. And I called her and I said, how is he going to give up this art piece? I mean, the guy's a horse lover. He bought that at the Kentucky Derby. He goes, you see what you can do.
Yeah.
And I didn't have, my heart beat and I went and spoke to him and goes, yeah, for a price, everything is available. And we negotiated. And that was my first 6-figure transfer of personal property on a
Wow.
sale because they gave up quite a bit.
So
But
that's
the
a good tip to know, right? Like at the end of the day, everything is negotiable
negotiable
for
and
the
in the
right
luxury
price
space
when you're
for
buying real
everything.
estate.
And you have different challenges. Certain homes, in this space have unique furniture, have water rights that they want
Hmm.
to take with them, don't want to give up. I mean, it presents its unique challenges, but to get into that space, which is what I'm asked a lot by other colleagues and friends, is, dude, how do you live in that space? Where do you find these
Hmm.
people? And the answer for me, it's either lifelong of friendships and it's the connections. And so in this space, you create a lot of validity by your word, your actions. And in this space of luxury, They refer their dentist, they refer their tennis coach, they refer their golf
Of
instructor,
course.
and they refer their real estate agent.
I love that. Well, and then I want to highlight something that you said a little bit ago. You mentioned, like evolution, right? In the way of following 5 agents in the luxury space that you feel are doing better than you. So, what else have you seen that now that you're in the associate broker role, what that title means to you? And I know you're doing the work behind the scenes, right? So for me, what it means for you to follow these people is you're putting yourself in a room or space with someone that you can have lead you and then do the things they're doing.
Correct.
But what else does that role mean to you?
Yeah, I mean,
when you are the go-to person, right? So
yeah, I mean, for me, it was about validating what I saw, gaining respect for the clients. And then luxury space, I look at it when I was a C-level executive, the more commas someone has after their name. So yes, I have all the, advanced negotiation skill degree, this, that. The broker adds a different element. And even when I identify to a peer-to-peer, I am Lewis Carter, associate broker, then they know that I have certain safeguards that a little bit above another agent that's just a sales agent, right? But for me, it was very important to achieve that because in order to get a broke, first of all, in passing the test and the elementary stuff, you have to sell a certain volume.
right.
And so it takes folks a lot of time to accelerate.
So was it more of a goal for you?
For me, it was a
Yeah.
goal. When I penned and got my license, it said there's a minimum time, and 5 days after my minimum time, I took my test.
Okay,
So
so
I had
you set a
goal.
hard date of
Yes.
it's happening.
You have to set
Love that.
goals. Things are not going to happen in
Well,
this
I
industry.
think a lot of us do though. We set goals, but we're not setting that final date
Right.
of the execution.
Right.
So,
And for me, there was no equivocation. I had to be a broker,
okay.
period.
I love
Full
that.
stop. It was
Non-negotiable.
non-negotiable because for me, at first, it was about I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, so I have to start my brokerage. It quickly became validation. If I could get that brokerage, I stay in luxury. Because when I go into interviews to sell someone's home, I'm always getting compared.
Of course.
Always getting compared. There's one firm that I'm like, oh, and I went and interviewed with them. I'm like, okay, if I want that 30 million plus home, it seems like I got to go to this brokerage. So I found the broker online. I invited him to go eat. We sat and I go,
Oh, I love that.
what a, and I'm like, it's just the name.
Yeah.
But that space wants to go with that brokerage. And so then I had to figure out what's my product differentiator, meaning how do I differentiate myself, not being part of that brokerage, staying true to where I want to be, the flexibility that I have, the income I can make where I'm at, and still give them what they think the perceived value is over there. And that's built.
So you mentioned you went to lunch with this person.
Yeah.
And was that more for like, hey, I know you're doing something
Right.
that is being chosen. How can I learn from you?
Well,
Or
remember,
what
I was
the-
a 27-year research
Yeah.
executive, right?
yeah.
He did not know that. I was
So you're like,
there.
I'm going to be taking.
I was
notes.
there to be my novice version of an FBI agent
Yeah.
to try to pick their brain on what it is they do. And I think that after the interview, he didn't even know. And they pursued me for a year until I said, you know what? Thanks for all the info. I'm good where I'm at. Because I thought I didn't quite have to go there. I just had to continue on my path.
But you still were able to learn from just having that
Absolutely.
lunch or that relationship.
And they don't interview just anybody. They
Yeah.
look at your numbers. For me to get that lunch, I had to send over all my sales receipts. I had to produce
wow.
my receipts. And immediately, instead of the assistant calling, he called. And we went out and ate, and he followed up and said, Lewis, look, you're doing X volume, X, think about 10X, he said. That was the word he used, about 10X. Because of where you are, there's opportunities that you don't even know you're passing up just because you don't have our brokerage attached to your name. So that's another takeaway for anyone wanting, do your homework. There's different, they offer different things, right? And so for someone as independent as I am, business-minded, my model did not quite fit there, but it could fit for other agents that are sort of on the rise that can go into a team
Absolutely.
or work under another senior agent.
Well, not just that. I think that goes for the consumer as well, right? Being able to do their research so that they can find the right agent
Correct,
to help
yeah.
represent them.
Yeah. And something I learned, I mean, I'm not going to get all of them, and there is a right agent for a right client. And I'm
Absolutely.
not the right one for everybody. I don't use words like, it's a joke.
Okay,
I
let's
don't
hear
use
it.
words like harkle, marvel, wonderful. You know, I use
I
words
don't
like
even know what
functional,
harkle.
great.
What does harkle even mean? I don't
you
know
know,
that word.
I don't walk into a home in certain parts of the valley and go, yeah. Anyways, I don't
Wait,
want
let's
to.
learn though.
Yes,
What does
exactly.
harkle mean?
I know. I'm not going to use any of those words,
Yeah, yeah.
and so for me, it's my vocabulary represents. When I say it, they know, wow, that guy has style. All this,
Hmm.
and it's always when we end, I say, you're gonna hire me, but you're going to gain a friend for life. And in that space, that's usually it's transactional, but it's also relationship building. And of course, I've done other price brackets as well that comes out of the luxury space, and those are more transactional,
Yeah.
very transactional. And it's I need the most. Here's all I have, and the luxury space is mostly cash transactions,
Oh,
very
okay.
different vocabulary, and our negotiations are $250,000
And
off
probably
price,
much
so
faster pace.
very fast.
Yeah.
Yep, and
So that, clearly language is super important and how you deliver the way you're speaking to people. I'm sure you've had to adapt that, right, with the market changes or even the client expectations.
client expectation,
Yeah. So let's
absolutely.
talk a little bit about that. Like, what are the expectations in
Right.
the luxury space with your clients?
Yeah. I mean, and this year is really front and center where, someone entering the market in 2025 that saw their neighbor in 2021, 22 in what I call the COVID golden years,
Yeah.
which will never come back. Um, the adjustment, the honesty, and again, being able to speak. I was there, did that. We're not going to get there. We are not. I'm today, just before I came here, I signed a buyer agreement with a
Oh,
client.
good for you.
There's a jazz player that just got traded in his home. He wants that home bad. He went out and looked at who his business manager is for the player, everything. He gave it to me, put it on a pedestal, and said, "This is what I'm paying." I go, "That's what he bought it for 3 years ago. He's an NBA player.
Yeah.
There's a certain
You're like,
cachet that comes with
this might not
celebrity."
work. Yeah.
I said, "We're going to have honest discussions, but you cannot insult somebody like that." I said, "If you think you have an ego, think about an NBA player." So
Yeah.
we've got to be careful because it's not even on the market. So for us to present this to his business manager, because these guys have wealth management, they have
Yeah.
their agent who represents their contracts, and then they have real estate
Well, and
agents.
you brought up a good point. It's not even on the market. So
It's not
who's to
even
say he's even considered
correct.
selling it?
All we know is he
Yeah,
got
this might
traded.
be his forever.
Right. Who knows? And so we have to go in with a certain cachet, certain respectability, and have it when his agent reads it, goes, okay, we're
This is
dealing with
something worth
something
looking at.
serious,
Yeah.
and we're cash buyers. And so in that market and those characteristics, the language changes. And that's a unique case, but by and large, yes, I'm having to
Hmm.
do a lot of, no, Mr. Herrera, we can't do that. Sorry. That is the past. Here's the present. And then once they learn that you're talking to a market research executive, and I started nerding out on data, they go, whoa, 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 whoa. You're
Reel
over.
it back.
I get this a lot. You're over my head. What does that mean? I go, what cannot sell for 5 million? We're not going to get there. But John up the road did. I go, yes. Look at the sales date, 2021.
But that's so huge that you're able to
Absolutely.
have that background, right? Because some clients do need all the details
Absolutely.
and information.
Yeah.
So to be able to provide that, then it's like, okay, well, these are facts.
Correct.
Now
Yeah.
now we can make an educated decision
Right,
of
exactly.
what is actually a good
Right.
offer.
Yeah. They may not like what I have to say, and this is a market where
But you're
You-
at least willing to
right,
be honest and upfront about
right,
it with them.
and you can't just open the MLS and say, "Here is."
Or
You have
trying to please them when you know it's not going to work for them.
And we do that a lot in this
Yeah.
business, right? Because the then you know, and the thing that we most commonly say is, okay, let's start at that price. Regrettably, I've been there, done that, that I know we're going to spin our wheels. I know how important it is to come out of the gates like a racehorse. And if we do that, we're not going to get where we want to. And I call it, and these are two buzzwords of mine. I have one called the ladder effect and then the piranha effect. So if you look at piranhas in the river, you throw a little piece of meat and it's just, and they eat it. I said, we want to create the piranha effect with your house. So we've got to price the house such that we have consumption we've got traffic, we've got people. And then it becomes a number game. If I can get 40 people through your open house, we're going to get an offer. If I get
Right.
5 people in this market, I'm praying. I'm lighting candles, I'm praying because
All the things.
all the things I can do. Yes.
Okay, I love that though. So what would you say is maybe one of your most proud moments in real estate and your career so far?
Ah, proud moment. That's a interesting question because there's pride in doing something, gaining a listing that wasn't being sold and you sell it. But there's also pride in helping people. Like the first couple
Absolutely.
of years during COVID, the Latin community were buying.
Yeah. Well,
And
and that's a space you also work in,
right,
being
yeah, and a
from Venezuela
bilingual. I
and
was born in
speaking Spanish.
Venezuela. And so I remember, and I got this, I was in the top 20 I got a Latin award. And I go,
Love that.
wow, okay, cool. And so, but that I think is because the relationships in those type of clients, the emotional, being able to give somebody in that space a key. I mean, you're bringing back where I can see myself having a little bit of emotional reaction to some of those families because it really is a big accomplishment to give a
Yeah,
person like that a key.
absolutely.
And I did that. I did that quite often in 2021, 22, where I received the award. There's a Latin, Hispanic.
Is it the is it for NAREP?
Yeah,
Yeah,
NAREP.
so I'm a
Yeah,
part of that. Yeah, I was
yeah,
actually gonna ask you next. Like, have
yeah,
you been involved with that?
yeah.
So
And
you've
so
made top 50, I'm
yeah,
assuming,
yeah,
AJ. Yeah, of course.
3 years in a row, and then I didn't put it in this year for last year, even though I would have qualified. I don't know
Oh,
why I
well,
didn't.
I can put you in this
Yeah,
year.
and
Yeah,
so, but that would be a lot of pride because as you made me think about that, that was a lot of pride. There's professional pride, like
of
somebody
course.
giving you, "Hey, Lewis, I couldn't sell this." They say you're the best, and you do it.
Or those numbers, right? Like seeing the
Right,
numbers, that's pride as
right,
well,
as
and
well.
it's a good
Yeah,
accomplishment.
yeah. And then when they give you that award for salesperson in the entire state for your
Hmm.
bro, and you
I mean,
wow,
that is a huge
huge thing.
accomplishment, but
Yeah,
without the personal accomplishments, I think you wouldn't get that.
absolutely.
Or
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
the level of like gratification
Right.
behind it.
Exactly. I agree with you. Yep.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that. Where do you see you heading though for the next 3 to 5 years? Like, is
Yeah.
this forever, you think, as far
It,
as
I think
your
it's
role?
always going to be my primary role as I had an interest in and I had to go through what I just went through the past year with my wife and helping
Yeah.
her firm. And I needed to give back as well to help her, but she doesn't need my help. She's a rock star. And she asked me to leave. She's like, you go back to
You're like,
real.
you did your work.
She's like, you get out of here.
Yeah.
Your personality, these guys need to relax. You want to go, 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 go. But I see real estate being fundamental. I see myself being either a principal broker or my own brokerage because of the
Love that
window
for
you
you.
just gave, 3 to 5. Within 3 or sooner, one of those two role, a principal or just a firm. I've had many ideas that I would love to bring to fruition. I love to teach. I think the industry needs more teaching.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to say the bar is too low. It is too low. And
So
regrettably,
you're open to teaching though, our
and
other
regrettably,
peers and everything.
yes, because regrettably,
Love
when you're
that.
dealing with the other side too often, you're like, you know how many offers I've written against my property for an agent?
Uh-huh.
More than once. And that's not good because they don't know what to do. And you lay it on a platter. Here's all the information. And I'm like, oh, take what I just wrote, sign it, and bring it back to me, and you'll get it. And that just keeps putting that little feather in my cap. You got to teach this somehow. I've thought about doing some YouTube videos and just giving certain sections of the Rep C how to handle it. And
Yeah.
then one thing that I used to have an office just right up here in the brokerage, and I sat right next to the lunchroom. So I could hear all the gossip and all the cafeteria conversations. And a lot of times I wanted to just get up and go out there, but then I'm getting involved in things that I shouldn't. I'm not the broker. But I always thought that's a way to give back. And then I fundamentally understood why the senior agents in this industry give back.
Yeah.
Because without them becoming better, the industry will collapse. So you've got to pass it on to people.
I love hearing that though. Not everyone is in that mindset of,
Correct.
hey, let me help you out. Let me
Right.
show you what I know because this is easier
Right.
or works better.
Exactly. And I can't represent every single home.
Yeah.
I can't. AI might help me, but you can't. You can't represent everybody. But
Right. If we're not using AI to help, we're
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
left behind.
yeah. Every day I use some form of AI. I'm a subscriber to platforms. I don't know how much to give that away because it really is a competitive advantage for me this year.
Hmm.
But I know I have to pass that knowledge on to others. But AI being more of a principal or my own brokerage is in my future.
Okay. I love hearing that. So thank you for sharing. And it sounds like you have an exciting future and lots to work towards.
Lots of hard work ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows where the market will go? I think, who knows? And then whether government supplemental programs or just people getting back to home ownership. I think the last 28 months, we've seen that first time home buyer sort of
Hmm.
characteristics change. It's not your traditional home buyer. And so you have to understand the new generations. And, there will be, I think, a combination of government programs
Of
coupled with
course.
the process is always going to change. And I think AI is going to affect a lot more agents than they are thinking about today in a positive way. And being able to
Absolutely.
jump head first and do more content, more videos and things like that. And that will change as well.
Well, and that comes with the ability to adapt. So it sounds like you've
Absolutely.
got the right mindset behind that and you're willing to pivot so that it
Correct.
works.
That's right. Yeah.
Love hearing that. What would be some advice that you would give somebody entering the real estate space with the background like yours? You've
Yeah.
given some already, but
Yeah.
just maybe like
I would
one more.
say I would say my elevator pitch to somebody. There's two type of agents that enter. You're really green behind the ear and you're young. Get yourself on a team. Get yourself on a team. Take my story. Look me up. You can see where I was. It took me 18 months to gain what I needed to be where I'm at today. And it's because I didn't have the humility the first 8 months to say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't, I've got all
Well, and it's
these.
not easy
It's
stuff.
not
Yeah,
easy.
especially in the luxury space where
Space,
you're getting these
exactly.
unique
Yeah.
challenges.
And then like I said earlier, I set a goal. I have to be a broker by this date. There's no equivocation. I did it 5 days after the deadline. Um, I had those were the things that I wanted to. You've got to figure out what is your goal. If you're brand new, young, and you have the luxury of time, get yourself on a team. You will
Okay.
learn fast. You can share. You'll have a lot of content to post. You will have a lot of homes you'll list and will buy in by the nature of being with somebody. Humble yourself and go to somebody like me and say, Louis, can you put me as a co-listing agent? I don't want any money.
Yeah,
If I
just
hear
for the
that,
learning
I would pay
experience.
you actually. But I just want to learn and I want to be able to put content on my page. You got it. You know how many agents I've done it? I'll have them listen to this and have them put in the comments how many of them I've helped by just letting their names come on one of
Of
my
course.
listings. One
Well, and
agent,
that's good credibility to build as well.
right,
Like, hey, I am working with
right,
Louis. Let me,
yeah,
if I don't know this,
right,
he does. And
right. Bring
yeah,
me in. I've gone in on many
absolutely.
sales pitch, and I tell them on this one just a dinner certificate. If it happens again, then yes, we're splitting commission. But for here, God bless. If you see an offer from me, but you better take it. That's always my tagline to them. But
You better take
yeah,
it.
but if you're further on in life and you're thinking about a second career, get it. Get the license. It's it's engaging for me. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. You'll meet friends. You'll see experiences that I don't think a lot of other industries can give you,
Absolutely.
and
I
you'll
agree
have
with that.
many funny things, and you'll see some home designs that you'll leave and you go, "What in the world was that?" You'll go into a polygamy home. We live in Utah. You'll see them, and you go, "Wow, there's 32 bedroom."
I have yet to
Oh, I
see
see.
that, but I look forward to one
I'm
day.
like, what is this bridge? Oh, connects okay,
Oh, how
gotcha.
interesting.
All right, sounds good.
So we do still have homes like that, huh?
Yes, you do, right here in Utah County.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I
Yeah, my
mean,
pleasure.
for me, this has been so wonderful just learning a little bit more about you. And it's so nice to speak to someone with such a high drive, but still, I can tell you're humble and you're willing to help and extend a hand, and not a lot of people are. So
Yeah.
I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share? And
No, just enjoy it. Have
yeah.
fun with this career, and yeah, good luck to you.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
thank you so
my
much.
pleasure.
Okay, you guys. Well, That is our podcast for today. I think we have so much that we can take away from this. But of course, if you want to reach out and get to know Luis more, I'm going to have you share where people can find you, if that's okay, just
Yeah.
like your Instagram handle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram. It's Utah Locks Agent or Lewis Carter on Facebook and Lewis Carter on X and Lewis Carter on YouTube. Very simple.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. Thanks, you guys. See you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.